I don't have kids, you do. I feel like is there a limit to what you allow your girls to say? I think in the home you allow them to say whatever they want, right? Because they're expressing themselves. But do you tell them like, hey, when you're in school or in public places, maybe you don't say certain words? I mean, how does that work and where's the limit and why?
That's a good point. Okay, so I did address it a little bit in the sense that they know those words are just words, but I do admonish them about the idea that, we don't want to use any words to hurt other people,
Right.
to fling those words at anyone or to make them feel bad about themselves or anything like that. The other thing is that to use it not gratuitously, right? To understand that those words have power in our culture and to wield it appropriately, which
Right.
is vague also, I realize. But yeah, at home, other than those things, I tend to not gatekeep that.
Hmm.
When it comes to school, because one of my kids did decide to go to school, she discovered she discovered that those are not okay to say, and that it stops no one from saying it. So basically, that's where that stands.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So she does moderate herself at school because she understands that's what they expect there, and she chose to go to school of her own accord. So she's like, "Well, okay, I picked it, so I'll do what they say."
Yeah.
And honestly, that's like the most I can hope for as her parent, you know.
I think they're doing great. Yes.
Huh,
And they can express themselves freely at home. But yeah, it is strange. It's like you can't fully be yourself out in the world necessarily all the time, even when you have a
mm,
job. I
of
mean, you have
course.
to abide by certain rules.
Yeah.
That's their company that you're working for. You have to dress a certain way, you have to act a certain way. And I get that. Um,
It's
but
funny how much though that starts to sound like code switching. Do you know this concept? For
mhm.
people of color to need to potentially act differently, use different words, not use an accent that might be standard in their home, all because they're trying to make sure that they're acceptable in white spaces. And that fucking sucks.
Oh, you bring up a
It,
good point.
I'm trying to learn about it and understand it, and like one asking myself, like, what can I do here,
Yeah.
to make safer spaces for people of color, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, of all cultures too.
Of
Yeah.
all cultures. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember a friend of mine, she's got like Indian ancestry, but she was born and raised in Guyana. There's a lot of them out there. And she seemed so surprised that I wanted to be friends with her. She's like, not a lot of white women in the US like want to talk to me. I was like, I'm sorry for that. And I'm fascinated by what you have to say. And she had explained that little things here and there stood out. One time she told me that she had gotten something wrong on a test because she had spelled something the British in the British way of spelling
Hmm.
English instead of American English, which there are differences. Like the word traveler has two L's and little things like that. But again, the teacher would not bend on it. She was just hell bent on giving her the wrong, like a mark saying, this is wrong. But she explained to the teacher, look, I'm used to, British English here. So, like, why wouldn't the teacher stop being a fucking cunt and just give her the point and be like, okay, that makes sense. You've learned now, and now you're gonna switch the way you say. Isn't that interesting that you can be right in different places of the world
I
and
was gonna
wrong in
say, it's not like
another?
she was even wrong. She wasn't
Right, she wasn't
wrong.
wrong. She had the answer correct. It's just that she spelled something in British English instead of American English because that's what she's used to. I'm like, talk about fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
American exceptionalism?
yeah, maybe that's the
I
word.
mean, it's a little bit that. It's right,
Right.
like, oh, my way of doing English is the way.
There's even my friend from Fiji who goes to school here locally in central Illinois. Her daughter doesn't know anything about the Bible. She's never read it. Why the fuck would she? She was actually raised Muslim. She knew a little bit about Hinduism. She has an Indian background. And the teacher was so annoyed and angry with her because she didn't know simple answers to questions. I'm like, teachers should not be teaching things about the Bible, but yet the teacher was completely biased against her. Just like, oh, yeah,
Ooh,
you're
that's
confused.
shit we
You know
gotta start
nothing
calling
about the
out.
Bible. I'm like, this is criminal shit right here.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, she's one of the very few dark-skinned people in the school. It's very white here.
Okay, I'm just gonna be really out here about how strong my sense of justice is. Because if there's ever a time when I could say I see red, like it is in the face of injustice like that.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Nothing makes me more pissed off. Oh, that
Mm.
was another thing we couldn't say. Pissed off.
Oh yeah, pissed off we couldn't say. Yeah. You're peeved off, you're ticked off.
Peeved. Peeved and ticked were okay, but
Peeved
not
and
pissed, because that's urine. Ugh.
I don't think peeved was okay. Our parents didn't like those watered down
Peeved?
version. Yes.
Oh, I thought that one was okay.
I don't
I
know.
remember
Maybe I
mom
remember.
saying her big expletive was, "Oh, crumb."
What does the mom just say what she's actually thinking? She wants to say, "Oh, fucking
Aw.
goddamn it."
Yeah, she's pretty buried in there. I hope
So
someday
weird.
the fire can be reignited.
Maybe, but we've never seen it, and that's heart-wrenching.
We just see the sadness leak out when it's too much to hold down.
Right, and that gets her to the point where she just can't hold it in anymore. I've seen her bawling before because it's overflowing so much she just can't handle it. It's like you can't even talk about what you're feeling with your family here,
And
what you're going through.
there is like the extended version of everything we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Is that to be true and honest and vulnerable with how you're doing, how you're feeling, what you're thinking, none of that is ever okay in Armstrongism type cults.
Vulnerability, no.
No, you can't admit that you're a fucking human.